2018 is the year of the ute, and more of you are buying these things as lifestyle vehicles. But which one should you spend your money on? Well, we've assembled 8 of the best sellers in this segment, and we're going to put them through some grueling tests at this four-wheel drive proving ground.
The Ford Ranger Wildtrak is the gruffest and toughest looking Ranger on sale, and it sits at the top of the brand's dual cab ute offering. Fitted with the most active safety gear on test, is it enough to take the win? Holden's Colorado Z71 has experienced a rise in fortunes since receiving a much needed mid-cycle update. While it's loaded with tech, it lacks some of the competitors' four-wheel drive equipment. A light truck engine powers the sturdy Isuzu D-Max LS Terrain, built to last the test of time. But will an expensive asking price undo what is a fairly comprehensive trade vehicle also built for weekends away? While it was conceived in tandem with the Ford Ranger, the Mazda BT-50 GT lacks some of the modern safety technology and still uses an outdated hydraulic steering system. But do buyers really care? The Mitsubishi Triton Exceed offers great value for money and has amassed a huge number of sales. Could the top end of the range be Mitsubishi's chance to shine with an affordable lifestyle ute? It's third time lucky for the Nissan Navara STX. The Series 3 Navara further refines the Navara's suspension and steering, but after failing the first 2 times, has Nissan finally hit the nail on the head? Could the reign of the unstoppable ute have come to an end? The Toyota HiLux leads the sales charts, but is the top specification SR5 outclassed by a stack of refined competitors? Finally, it's the most expensive and the most powerful ute here. The mighty Volkswagen Amarok V6 Ultimate offers power, torque and stonking performance. Does its astronomical price tag rule it out of contention though?
The first criteria is equipment and value, and you'd think with a bunch of flagship utes, it'd be a predictably close race. But the thing is, one of these utes costs 70 grand before on-road costs, while another is 46 grand drive away.
While these are confident family haulers both on and off-road, they are still workhorses at heart, which is why at the business end, we're sticking a 2-ton load on the back to see how well they tow.
For something a bit more rigorous, we've also taken these dual cab utes off-road to test how the average family of 4 would be able to reliably get to a campground and get back safely.
Top spec utes should be loaded with features, but what's important is the quality of those features. With their increasing popularity as family vehicles, comfort and space are also going to come under scrutiny.
And speaking of comfort, we're going to test how these cars perform on the open road and around town. We're going to see how good the noise suppression is, how comfortable the ride is, how easy the steering manoeuvrability is around town, and we're also going to go onto some gravel to test the emergency braking and the ABS, and to do a swerve test to see how well the stability control works.
What are we doing today?
We're doing road loops, 3 up, to simulate your 2 adults and 2 kids with 3 slightly overweight adults in the car at the moment.
So far we've started in Ranger and Navara and seen some definite contrast between the two.
One of the things we're testing here as part of towing is the reversing camera, and in the Navara's case, it is absolutely rubbish.
And it's HiLux. It's unbreakable. Unbreakable, unlike my spine.
What was the other unword you used out there? Unbearable?
Unbearably uncomfortable.
Unbearable, I think.
Unfeasibly archaic. Uncooperative hill descent control. But yeah, I mean, it's unbreakable.
We're about to do road loop number 6. This is the D-Max.
Interesting day so far. Starting to cycle through the utes and see what's what out on the road and in and out of town.
So we're discussing the perpetual issue with Amarok and that it doesn't have rear side airbags.
Yeah, which is a shame.
It's a constant cross to bear. It's not a good thing.
While the HiLux has solid metal struts, which is fantastic, it has no counterbalance. And the result is it's really heavy to shovel.
I think early leaning's got to be the Ranger. It seems to be the better all-rounder, a little bit more comfortable, a little bit more quiet, and good as a family car.
BT-50's design has always been a bit challenging, but this one has a bull bar fitted. I reckon it actually makes it look pretty good. You're sort of hiding that zooms.
Four-wheel drive mode in the Mitsubishi Triton. A bit of encouragement in neutral and a bit of a backwards and forwardsing, saw it click in, but not exactly confidence inspiring if you're about to hit that gnarly slope and you realise the last minute you're still in two-wheel drive. This is, yeah, this was great. I hadn't actually spent a lot of time in the Colorado before, and I know the Melbourne guys had long term and really rated it. What was interesting though is that it bottomed out at a place that it probably shouldn't have.
Judges, we did some blind scoring here. Kurt, you're in charge of equipment value and ownership. And going from third to first, we had Nissan Navara STX, Ford Ranger Wildtrak, and Mitsubishi Triton XC. Surprising.
Wow, yeah. Triton's a price buster.
Is it? So it's value that drove you, Kurt?
Yeah.
Tight ass.
These are lifestyle utes, which means you can have family, kids, dogs, all sorts of stuff in the car. So Mike and Kez, you were both in charge of family friendliness, cabin features and occupant safety. So from third to first, Holden Colorado Z71. We then had the Volkswagen Amarok V6 Ultimate.
Second.
And Ford Ranger Wildtrak.
Yeah, right.
Must have been that sliding tray thing that...
Makes all the difference, Paulie. No airbags in the Amarok doesn't help.
Yeah.
Well, you guys not having any family doesn't help.
Not that they're aware of. But it does go to show you that it takes a different thing here for these utes to be winners in this particular segment, right?
Yeah, it does. I mean, it's interesting. I mean, the Colorado is a pretty improved vehicle based on how it's scored historically, so it's good to see.
Gone are the days of these things being barges out on the road, so it's important that they handle like cars more than trucks. So on-road manners, comfort and economy, important thing. Mike and Kez again. Third to first, we have Holden Colorado Z71, Ford Ranger Wildtrak, Volkswagen Amarok V6 Ultimate. So same order there, just rearranged a little bit.
What was the rationale behind that?
I mean, the Colorado and the Ranger have, a lot of Australian tuning to the suspension, and it shows on our roads.
It's definitely good around here, for sure.
The Amarok has by far the most power here. It's the most refined. It almost feels like an SUV with a tray on the back.
Yeah,
so
I'd
if you
agree.
want a ute that performs on the road, it's pretty hard to go past.
And didn't Volkswagen race this around Sydney Motorsport Park instead of Wicklow?
Yeah, they did. They tweaked one. Look, I was the only judge that hasn't spent extensive time in this V6. I was just blown away at how good it is on the road. So, no surprise.
Puts the others to shame.
So it does, unfortunately.
Well, they need to be good on-road. They need to be good off-road as well because, every dad wants to go get the car stuck somewhere and blame it on the car. So we rank these again, and third to first, Volkswagen Amarok V6, Ford Ranger Wildtrak, Toyota HiLux SR5.
Justifies the
HiLux.
purchase there, Beach.
Well, a bit of self-justification always goes a long way. But I don't think you're exactly hating the car off-road either.
No, I mean, it's amazing. The HiLux is the oldest car here in terms of Ks. It's travelled 12,000 Ks, which is
the press car we have. Yeah.
Admittedly isn't much, but it feels the tightest.
For a press car, that's like
a
in
lot.
dog years, it's like 200,000.
Exactly, exactly. It's not a squeak or a rattle. It's got the best clearance. It feels reassuring and tough off-road. Good gearing, good steering, all the things you're looking for. If I was going to buy a ute to bash it up, yeah, it's probably the HiLux.
But equally, we've discovered with this that it's a one-touch operation, so you don't have to be an expert. This will sort of, the Amarok will get you where you need to go without having to fuss too much.
Yeah, look, I think all the cars on test actually did the off-road circuit without any major difficulties. So I don't think there isn't a car here that you could take off-road successfully. It's just they do it in different ways.
Now, when you get into the pay bracket of a CEO, towing's important, especially if you have a boat. And that is why we've ranked these in a bit of an interesting way, and the result may surprise you guys. So third to first, Volkswagen Amarok V6 Ultimate, Toyota HiLux, and then Holden Colorado.
Ooh.
So I would have thought this would be first.
Yeah, well...
Are you surprised with that?
I'm really surprised. I wasn't on the tow test, but I would have thought that the biggest engine would easily clear it. So obviously all that's power doesn't necessarily work for towing.
And that being said, even back before the facelift, when the Colorado was a bit of a dog, to be honest with you, it always had a really strong VMatory diesel engine, 500 newton metres. It's not messing about, so it's not surprising that it can tow a load.
Yeah, absolutely. So, time for the final results, and I've got to say I was pretty surprised by this. Not surprised by the bottom end, but surprised by the top end. So let's start at the bottom in last position, Mazda BT-50. Is it surprising?
Look, I think it shows that if a brand doesn't spend any money over the life cycle of the car, because the Ranger and the BT-50 started off the same 7 years ago, and the BT-50 stood still, the Ranger's changed with the times. And
it hasn't just changed design-wise, like that steering is now completely different to the BT-50, which was the original.
Inside, it's had a lot of tweaks, and the Mazda, it's not like it's a bad truck, it just feels a bit tired. If you got a great deal on one, I could still see, maybe looking at it, but it feels outclassed here.
Yeah, agree.
Absolutely. All right, on to 7th position. We have the Isuzu D-Max LST. It's a tough one because the car itself isn't bad, but we have to work on recommended retail prices, and that RRP is astronomical for that car. You never pay the RRP, but I mean, that's what we've got to work with, right?
Yep. Yeah, I got a lot of friends with D-Maxes, and they tend to be buying the lower to mid-spec, so where the car stacks up.
Yeah, I mean, it's a proper workhorse, right?
Yeah.
Truck engine, hardcore.
Yeah.
Maybe the one with all the frills on it doesn't add up quite as much.
I really enjoyed off-road, but at that top end, it starts to lose a fair bit of value.
Yep, absolutely. And that puts us in position number 6. Mitsubishi Triton. So again, this is a car that stacks up great in terms of value and features, but it's consistently let down by the little things that it should do well, like off-road.
Yeah, it was the one that struggled the most off-road, both in clearance and some of the systems, which didn't feel as well engineered as some of the other cars.
And it's not as reassuring when towing either.
Yeah,
I find it's a little narrower. It's got a shorter wheelbase. It feels a little bit
black hole of torque.
We actually own a lower spec Triton at CarAdvice in Sydney office, and we use it for a film crew, and we've done a lot of Ks in it. And what I found was exactly the car that we've had in high spec.
So similar story to D-Max. Makes a lot of sense lower down, but once you start spending big money,
buy it on price.
Yeah.
Third time lucky for Navara, and it's the Series 3 division of Navara, which places 5th. I really would have thought it would have done better.
I know, it's the updated version, and we would have thought that it would have risen a little bit higher to the top this time around, but it's probably a little bit too close to its predecessors.
Yep. And Kez, no offence, but you're not the tallest person in the world. You even struggle to fit in the back seat of it in terms of headroom.
So the big problem with Navara is its packaging. I'm, as you can see, the shortest out of this crew, and even I struggle with the back seat. There's not a lot of headroom, there's not a lot of knee room, and funnily enough, the rear seat is incredibly short, which makes it even less comfortable again.
So that kind of means that they still need to keep trying with Navara, and it means it's interesting because X-Class is coming and it's based on Navara.
Ooh.
So anyway, we'll leave that open to discussion later on. All right, now third position is actually tied.
Ooh,
so we've got a tie between two cars, Toyota HiLux and Holden, Colorado. We couldn't split the difference between them.
Right. They seem like quite different utes, though.
Well, not the two I would have thought you'd put side by side.
Hasn't the Colorado come a long way?
It really has.
When we did our last mega test with the pre-update, it came stone motherless.
Holden has done a lot of work on this car, and it really shows where, like you say, it used to finish a lot further down the field. Suddenly, we're looking at a third place finisher.
But where the HiLux claws back is things like, for you and I, Moko, it's reach adjustable steering. I feel like I'm having to sit over the car to actually get comfortable. The HiLux just also feels fairly planted off-road as well. The Colorado misses out on the rear differential locks, so it's basic things like that where it fell a little bit short and probably prevented it from scoring any higher than third position.
And let's not forget resale either. That's a huge one, because if you're HiLux, if you want to sell it a few years down the track, you're going to get a lot more for that.
It's a Toyota.
Imagine if Toyota spent as many suspension revisions at the rear as Nissan had.
Yep.
It might have been a second or first place position.
Yeah. That's all.
Because I have to say, despite being an owner, after 3 days of testing, I can still say that the ride on that HiLux is absolutely.
I think my spine's
and
vertebrae fused together. At some point.
I've got some fillings somewhere out on the course somewhere fine. So
you just drive around with 500 kegs in the back and you're fine, right?
Yep.
Lumber.
That's right. Okay, so second and first position. So second place goes to the Volkswagen Amarok V6, which means Ranger Wildtrak wins this test.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, right.
Well,
So-
we can't say we're that surprised, right? I mean, the Ranger's historically taken out our ute tests, so...
But it's old. Like, we have a revision of that car coming.
What's
and
as old as
likely...
originally, it's as old as the
That's right.
BT-50.
But isn't it interesting?
Yeah, but the Amarok's older. Not with
that's
V6
true.
form, but it goes back a long way.
That's true.
Too.
BT-50 last, Ranger Wildtrak first. It seems that between those two cars, there's been a lot of revisions that have really improved
I think it shows that there's only like a 20% difference between first and last here.
Yes.
And the BT-50's has
not a bad car.
20% less done to it over the journey. So
Yeah.
it's not as if any of them are total crap boxes. But the Amarok, I think if you're buying a ute to actually use as a sort of a family car, it loses points because it doesn't have rear airbags. And
What also loses points at $70,000.
Value's
where
definitely
there's a
huge.
lot of family cars that with Euro badges on them at 70,000 that will get your family around in
But
style.
get ready for Ranger Raptor, X-Class. They will all be circa this kind of money. So I don't think it's going to be an unheard of proposition to be spending almost 80, 90 grand
I think
on
buyers
a
are going to pay it. I think the thing that came through in Motors test is in all the issues that the segment is still a fair way behind commensurate price passenger cars. I think we counted, was it the only vehicle that had actually any LED lights in the interior was the Nissan?
Yeah.
Which is pretty insane after 8 cars.
Absolutely.
Ranging this sort of, there's $500,000 worth of cars here.
Absolutely.
This is expensive, but there's a lot to like.
Yep.
Yeah,
I'd
and it's
agree
got the
with
best
that.
engine here by the length of the Flemington Straight.
And there it is, the 2018 CarAdvice Mega Ute Test. Ford Ranger has won this one. Did you agree with the results? Let us know in the comments below how you'd rank these utes. Head to CarAdvice.com to see the full review and the full breakdown, and don't forget to subscribe.